Good morning, welcome to this week's video. So a happy new year to everyone. We're out in the woods today. We're going to be doing a little bit of cooking today. We're going to be utilising the Omnia stovetop oven to do a traditional South African recipe with a little Nordic twist. It is a little nippy out here today. I'm not quite sure how the bread making is going to go, but we'll give it a go. I've been wanting to make some bread in the Omnia oven for absolutely ages, but just never gotten around to it. And I got sent some jerky the other week from Renjer in Sweden. That is the absolute perfect opportunity to sort of give a little bit of a Nordic take on a typical South African recipe. So the first thing we're going to do is get ourselves set up. I've already pre-made the dough because I need it to prove overnight. So we'll get everything set up and we'll go through the recipe. So we're going to be making a take on biltong scrolls today. We're not going to be using biltong, we're going to be using jerky. If you don't know what biltong is a South African air-dried meat. I've been sent some jerky from Renjer in Sweden, and this jerky is the crumb jerky. So if anyone makes jerky, you'll know that through the cutting process, especially on a commercial process, you've got loads of waste. So what Renjer have decided to do is bag up all of the crumbs, and this is the perfect recipe to be utilising those crumbs. So the dough recipe is really simple to make. So it's literally just 500 grams of plain flour, 100 grams of cheese. I've used the smoked cheese that was left in the fridge after Christmas. We all know how much cheese we've got left over after Christmas. 2 tablespoons of dried yeast and 300 millilitres of lukewarm water and just a pinch of salt. And that's been left just to prove overnight. Like I said before, it is cold out here today, so I'm not quite sure how this is going to go, but I think what we'll do is we'll have a go at proving the rolls once we get them into the Omnia stove. So here's the dough. It's all made up inside of this. It is quite cold, I can feel this now. What I've done, I've put it in this plastic bag just for travelling down. I've oiled up the dough, so hopefully it's not going to stick to the bag inside of there. Just got to flour up the board, and I need to make myself a rolling pin. Alright, that'll do as a rolling pin. Right then. So we'll get the stove out. So if you haven't seen this stove, so this is the Omnia stovetop oven. So this is an oven that's specifically made for using on top of a gas hob. So sitting outside camping in a camper van, this is an absolute brilliant piece of kit. There's plenty of videos on my channel there. I'll stick a link to one of those up the top there just now. Right, so we'll just get some of the dough out. Now I'm going to have to do this in a couple of goes because I've only got a small chopping board here, so I'll roll this out. So here we are. So this is the dough that we made up last night. So I'm literally just going to take a small piece of this and I'm just going to lay it out on the board, and then we're just going to roll this out. Now you don't want to have this too flat. Right, so I've pretty much got my dough rolled out onto the chopping board there. It's not very straight, to be perfectly honest. So the next process is you want some soft cheese. So we've got good old Philadelphia here. So all we're going to do is just spread this over the dough. There we go, so that'll do with the cheese. And then what we've got here is we've got this pack of elk jerky. So this is dried and smoked elk jerky. This is 50 grams in this packet, and it literally is just crumbed jerky. So basically this is all of the waste. that's left over for the drying process. So this would normally just go to waste, but we're going to utilise this just by sprinkling this over the cheese. There's some big old bits in here, but I'm not going to stick those in. I'm going to munch them. That's lovely. Right, we're just going to oil up this silicone dish from the Omnia stove now, and then we're going to roll up the bread, and then we're going to stick that in there and see how this goes. Right, so what we'll do now is just roll that up, and then we just want to just pinch the ends down just to stop the oil from leaking out. Do that on the other side, and then what we want to do now is just cut this. And then we're just going to lay these flat in the Omnia stove. Right, so I'm going to carry on with another roll of this, so it's just repeat what we've just done really. Fill up the whole of the oven there. Obviously you don't have to use an Omnia oven for this, you can do it in a baking tin, or a Dutch oven is absolutely perfect for this sort of thing, because that is how it would have been cooked in South Africa, in a poikie pot actually, not a Dutch oven. But anyway, we'll get this finished up and we'll get this proven. Right, there we go. So that's all set up. I could get some more in there. I've got a bit more dough left if I wanted to, but to be perfectly honest, it's getting a bit black in the sky up there, so I think we've got some rain forecast, so I'm going to get this in straight away. I'll do the other bits when I get home. I'm just going to let that heat up first. So you've got this bottom plate here. The actual oven sits on top of that, and then there's the lid there. So I'm just going to let that heat up for a bit, and then I'm going to stick in the mould. And we'll drop the heat down, and we'll leave that about 10 minutes I think, just to let that proof before we whack the heat up. And that really wants about 20 minutes I would say. I've got a few more bits of this jerky left, and just as I said, it starts to rain. Ouch, that's not for you. So I'm just going to pack all my bits away, and let's get this bread on the go. We'll stick the mould inside. And we'll just leave that for about 10 minutes. Just hopefully help that rise a bit, because it is quite cold. And we'll think about setting a tarp up, I think, because it's now starting to rain. Right, that got a bit too much. I've had to stick a tarp up, and then as soon as you stick a tarp up, it stops raining. Anyway, we've got about 10 minutes left on that bread, I think. The kettle's just boiled, so it's time to get a brew on the go and just wait for that bread. Right, time for a brew. Alright then, so we're now about, what are we, 32 minutes now, and that looks absolutely lovely. So we'll turn that off. Oh, you're hanging around now, are you? Let me guess, you want something. Right, look at that, perfect timing. So 32 minutes that took on this stove on full after 10 minutes of proving. And it has come out absolutely gorgeous, to be perfectly honest. Let's break a bit off and see how it is. Looks absolutely lovely. Right, let's give it a go. It's so crispy. It's absolutely gorgeous. So there we go, really simple recipe here, cooked up in the Omnia stovetop oven there. The full recipe is in the description below there, and also a link to the Renjer jerky crumble and of course the Omnia stove. If you're not going to cook it in the Omnia stove, have a go in a poiky pot or in a Dutch oven. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button just below here, and as always there's a couple of videos there for you to take a look at, and we'll see you next week on the next one.